the subwoofer is gonna go here in this location. We need to get this cool little plastic tray out. Just like the rest of this vehicle, it has clips. These are the easier clips to deal with. And there's 3 of them. Pull up and pull out. There we go. It is out. Our box should fit in here. We are gonna put some sound treatment on the box. Let's go take a look at it. All the way in from Australia is this subwoofer enclosure here. Designed to go into that pocket that we took out. It's made out of ABS. It's siliconed all along in here. It's definitely a shallow built subwoofer. What I want to do is sound treat it so that it isn't like buzzing or anything like that. Seems like a simple enough thing to do. And there we go. We added a layer of roadkill to it. We were able to test fit it to make sure we could put it on the outside, a little bit easier to handle. Then we installed a Kicker Comp RT into the box. Let's get this over into the car. And there we have it, drops into place. Hope it sounds good. It is countersunk a little, which is kind of nice. The other thing we had, while I was finishing that up, Fernando got the subwoofer knob installed over here by the gear shifter. Check it out. We ended up going with it here next to the gear shifters. Nice convenient location. To get to it, you just have to pop the center console up. To move the gear shifter back, when you lift this up, there's a little white button right here. That's how you push to engage it into back so you can pull this thing out. All the speakers are making noise. That is fantastic. We do need to do some setup on the amplifiers to make sure that they turn on the appropriate way. DC off, set off, high level. Green light on the sub amp, and then obviously there's a green light on the key amp. On the side of the key amp, there's a bunch of little dip switches that do need to be set up properly. We have plenty of videos out there talking about how to do that, but it's basically yes or no question. Don't be intimidated by it. Yeah, that's what we got. So I'm gonna leave this back seat out while we're doing the tune, just because it's gonna be easier to get to it and we're not using the rear speakers anyways. At this point, I like to do a mental checklist and just kind of go over the whole system in my head to make sure we didn't forget anything. And you can work backwards. So bass knob is in, fuse holder is in, amplifiers are on and working, speakers are all playing, speakers are in the car, sound treatment is done. I look around to see if we have anything sitting on one of the tables parts wise that might not be put back in. We try to keep things all in the same area in the shop. It's either going to be up front sitting on the table up there, or back here sitting on this table over here, or off to the side. We know where things are at. We also put things in the back over here in this corner, but it's usually the property that the people own, so we know we have nothing there. And then I do a quick visual of the car, make sure that the floorboards are in. If it had a floor mat, it needs to be put in. That floor mat just got put in. If Fernando's measured the seat because we're doing DSP, that he's gone ahead and put it back to where it was before we started. That is important because we are going to be tuning the car. We pre-measure the seat to its position so that we can put it back in that same position when we run the DSP. In this case, because it is a key, it comes with this cool little microphone that sits up here on top of the headrest, and that is what is going to do the auto EQ. Now the back seat is still out of the car just to make it easier, but there is one thing we have to do. Because we're doing a front stage upgrade, you have to make sure that you fade it to the front and also that the subwoofer is off. That is important because we don't want the subwoofer to make any noise, because that will cause the EQ to be bad. You can turn the subwoofer volume all the way down, but I prefer just to unplug the input to the amplifier so there is no signal getting into it. And then going into the factory radio, we're going to fade it all the way to the front. The other thing you need to do is play pink noise like this. Now we use the Educars Test and Tune app, but you can go to Kicker's website and download a pink noise track to a thumb drive and just stick it in there. Once the microphone is in place, make sure all your windows are rolled up. You're going to want to be quiet for the duration. It doesn't take a really long, it takes like maybe 5-6 minutes to do this, so it's not like a lot. Make sure the doors are unlocked. I like to open, you know, a couple doors. Now we're going to have to make this loud, so we have to turn this up to 3/4 volume. That's it. It's gonna do its little beeping, and we'll see it on the other side. And that is the sound we are waiting to hear. That means that everything went spectacularly. Press the button again. Now it's time to take a listen and see if everything went according to plan. All right, so if everything is according to plan, spectacular. The one drawback, we'll call it, on the key is that there is no plugging it into a laptop, pairing it to a phone, or doing anything like that. However, that doesn't mean you don't have some adjustability. You can game the system a little bit. So for example, what I was doing is I like to check the center, because a lot of the times with the key, it seems like the center isn't always, sometimes it's perfect. In this case, it's as close as it's gonna get to being where it needs to be. However, that doesn't mean I wanna check it against maybe going a little left, a little right. So what you do is you use the fader. You fade left, or you fade right, or balance. I'm sorry, use the balance. In this case, you use the balance. So what I was doing is I bounced it over to the passenger side, and that was only one click because it's right where I want it to be. But I just wanted to see if by going one click over it made it a little better, and it kind of moved it what I thought was a little bit too far. If it sounded better, then what I want to do, instead of going one click to the right, is go one click to the left and rerun the software. What it'll do is it'll do all its correction with the assumption that this is the new normal. And then when you're done, you put it back in the center, okay? And it will have gamed the system, and it will have moved the sound over and accomplished what you try to do with the balance. Now you can do the same thing with the EQ. If you want more or less or something, if you want more, turn it to where it sounds the best. Invert it, so if you went +2, go -2, and then run the software again. Keep in mind, everything you're trying to fix, you have to run at the same time. So like if I was like, oh, I want more treble, then I would boost the treble to, let's say, 1 or 2. Oh, that's nice. I'd cut that 2, and then if I wanted to move it that way, 1, I would put a -1 in there to go, or 1 to this side of the car. So you invert whatever it is you're doing, run the test again, and keep in mind, you have to always do that. But this one actually, right out of the box, sounds exactly the way we want it. Now we have to move on to the Key 501. The Key 501 is a little bit different how it works. It doesn't use a microphone. That means we have to hop back there. You do have to go to their website and download their test apps, and you need to. I like to store them in my Dropbox account. It just makes things easier, and I can share it with Fernando, so anytime we have corresponding tracks that we need access to, we just put it in the Dropbox. So we're gonna do sweep and gain match, and the gain match is first. So let's hop into the back and I'll show you what I mean there. I want to make sure we plug the signal back in. Turn the volume back up on the radio. I'm gonna unplug my bass knob. Personal preference, nothing else. Let's see, gain match. All right, so once you've done that, press the button again to get out of that mode. That gets you through the first portion of this test. Now the next is the sweep. You gotta hold the button. It's gonna blink and then keep holding it. So this is the second set. So it's gonna go through the first, which is the flash flash, and then it's gonna go to a, so you gotta hold it for a minute. Not actually a minute, but it flashed and it turned on, and now it's just pulsating. So we wanna turn, there we go. And that's it. Now, this is where your eyeballs stay focused on the amplifier, because the amplifier is actually still flashing. Now it's doing the math part of it, figure out how to fix what it just read. So it's gonna keep blinking for a little bit, and the light is gonna shut off, and it's gonna stay shut off. There's a lot of anxiety people have with this. I think it should be a big green light that pops on when we're done here, instead of this weird Morse code yellow light or orange light thing. Maybe one day. And then it goes blinky, blinky, blinky really fast and stops. So that means it's done. So now I can press the button, I get 2 flashes, press it again, I get 1 flash, press it again, I get 2 flashes. Now that means something. 1 flash means on, 2 flash means off. So you can press it as many times as you want. So that's 1 flash. If I press it again, that's 2 flash. We want 1 flash, which is on. Now we can put our bass knob back in, and we can go in and adjust our crossover. Now this only has 6 dBs of bass boost, which you might not even tell that you're getting a bass boost from it when you're turning it up. If you're like thinking that it's gonna be like, holy crap, this thing is gonna be awesome, and then you go to adjust your bass boost because you've done it on other amplifiers and your sub has got substantially louder, not gonna happen on this one. With 6 dBs, it's barely even noticeable. I mean, there's times where we don't even see it on an RTA. So don't worry about it too much. However, now we can actually listen to music. Subwoofer isn't gonna play while you're doing this, so keep that in mind too. Some people freak out because it's doing that. Awesome. Now it is time to get the back seat back in. We do have to adjust the gains on the front speakers still because we haven't done that. There is a peak like indicator on the key amplifier. I like to use just a dynamic song, you know, at volume and adjust it from there. That seems to work the best. Peak light comes on, turn it down. All right, back seat is in. It's time to do final, seat down, all that other fun stuff. Let's do a little jam. Rears are back on. Keep in mind this might clip the microphone. I apologize. I'm doing this more for me. That bass boost that we were talking about, even though it's 6 dBs, sometimes if the box is at that right tuning frequency, it makes a big difference. In small subwoofer boxes like this, sometimes it's very prevalent. In this case, it was making it sound kind of muddy, so I wanted to turn it back down some. Hey, Fernando. And that, my friends, is the new Ford Ranger with key system. There you go. There you go. Well, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Fernando, if you please.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always. We hope you enjoy these. We hope you enjoyed this. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.